Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and this short video I thought I'd make about the Doom 4 campaign. Now I was gonna make a video about all the things and features I saw in the Doom 4 single player developer stream, but when I started to think about the campaign I just thought about it so much that, there were a lot of words that I thought I'd make a standalone video of it, and so it's not to make people watch once a single 30-minute video. Now, I realize the game isn't officially called Doom 4. In fact, I believe that's the game that got cancelled in 2011 by Bethesda, as they were then and, hell, still are the owners of id. But, well, that happened because they quote, felt like the game was very similar to COD, and judging by the mechanics I saw in multiplayer demo of this Doom, I could see where they were coming from. But Pete Hines, Bethesda's VP, pretty much said as much. He said the game felt wrong, the fighting was too grounded, at times you almost felt like you were taking cover, and Doom is all about speed and gore and non-stop action that can't slow down. It's not like COD-esque cinematic moments and cutscenes and things like that tutorials that show you how this and that works. No, you're just let loose on a bunch of demons with a gun and you left click as much as you want, and that's pretty much it. Another idea that had just occurred to me was that Doom has always been a PC-oriented game in the beginning. Now, I'm sure to make the most of their profits, Bethesda wanted the next Doom game to be released on, consoles, and that's probably where some tension was inevitable. And I mean, you take a look at the game as it is today, there's really only like 5 buttons, 5 controls for the entire game, and in fact, I'm sure that is a fact that is not lost on a console gamer. Having 5 buttons for the whole game. Games have always been dumbed down to the console level of requirements as of late, and which obviously means PC versions that will suffer. See Battlefield. Doom with 4-player snap maps, which I will get into later in maybe even another video, but and so on and so forth. And also, there were no finishing moves, which might be a feature it feels like that Bethesda could have insisted upon to be included, in the next Doom. Now, while from their perspective they wanted, the game to sell, they wanted it to be somewhat approachable. They wanted a lot of eye candy to attract new buyers who weren't even born yet when the original Doom came out. And also, that looks sick in trailers. id's John Carmack may have felt that, the parent company's stranglehold on their creative ideas was a bit too much. And I mean, the man is nothing short of a genius, and I'm sure he had a vision for, what Doom is supposed to be. So, in around that time, he exited from Bethesda's id and went to work on Oculus Rift, which then got bought by Facebook, obviously. So, some more talented guys exited with Carmack, and it's almost like this Infinity Ward-esque Activision feud. Much of the original talent left, and Bethesda found some new people to replace them. So now, you got this sort of reimagining of Doom, if you wish, and by people who didn't work on the original, maybe, and, they bring with them their own ideas of what the game is supposed to be, and supposed to be like, and which is, it's a bit of a mishmash of features from today's shooters, and no doubt because Bethesda farmed out multiplayer to certain affinity, a studio which has been responsible for Halo, the Master Chief Collection, among other things. Now, I'm not saying Doom needs to stagnate as God did every year the same thing, but we all agree there's that certain something that about Doom that makes it a hell of a lot of fun to play. Get it? Hell? Well, anyway. And Doom has always been an incredibly single player focused game, although admittedly it managed to quite literally and without exaggeration pioneer multiplayer, with its fast paced action. And in fact, the term deathmatch is something that was invented by id. And, just think about that for a second. Let that sink in. The kind of uh, history changing events we're talking about here, bringing multiplayer, versus deathmatch to PC, and making it accessible enough so that the hardware of the day and the internet of the day was going to handle it. And I mean, that's insane and without a doubt industry changing. Now, in this game, the lore behind the UAC is explored a bit in single player, this time around delving more into the almost cult-like aspects of the corporation's intentions. Hell, they aren't exactly normal for uh, unleashing demons now, are they? No, sounds more like something a Scientologist would do. And this is actually an interesting turn of events for a Doom game. Because in Doom 1 and 2, we didn't really get any sort of backstory or lore behind the UAC or who your character was outside of your lines of text, in the beginning and the end of the game. Interestingly enough, this was done on purpose. The developers then thought that Doom only stood for, massacring enemies and bloodbaths, and any sort of story or cutscenes or any tutorials would have detracted from the pace of the game. And they also didn't identify the Marine, the character that you are playing, in any way. They wanted him to be nameless and faceless so that, the players can think of him whatever they want for each and every person playing Doom, to be the Marine themselves. And, for their ideas of him to be true, whatever they were. So, the Marine remained faceless and nameless. And that's how, this story went. And in Doom 3, we got a taste of the backstory to the UAC. The game just scratched the surface of the lore and the story, which led to the unscrupulous UAC heads to unleash wave after wave of monsters upon us. The game did have a few cutscenes, but they didn't take a whole lot away from the game. Though I must say those shitty follow the AI bot missions are a hemorrhoid-like pain in everyone's ass, and Doom 3 unfortunately had a couple of those, which definitely took away from the pace of the game. Now, Doom 4, let's go with that, so as to avoid confusion with the original. Uh, Doom 4 takes it even further. This time we get quite a bit deeper into the UAC backstory, and we start to see their almost cult-like behavior, as the devs put it. Though because Doom has always stood for fast blood-spattered action and non-stop jibs, the developers made it so you don't actually have to sit through the lore that they introduced and watch all the cutscenes. No, there are no long-winded cutscenes, and the story is usually told through computer interfaces and notes, much like it was in Doom 3. Admittedly, that one did have cutscenes and some detractions from the fast-pacedness of the game. Now, in this Doom, the developers did make the game more accessible through, if you watch the lore, the stories, the cut, the audio logs and everything like that. For example, it is useful for unlocking parts of the map on your screen and so on, but you don't have to wait through them or listen to what they have to say. You can, just turn around and continue killing. So, This is just another layer of gameplay that the game will not suffer if you don't go through it. I mean, you might not get to see some kind of secret alcove on a map or a secret unlockable wall, that there is in the secret spaces of the map, but you can still continue and finish that level without going through all the, lore and things like that. And I'm sure there will be people carefully listening to the story and trying to find plot holes in it, furiously making new threads on Doom forums, playing on an old CRT monitor in their mother's basements, sitting near the washing machine, you know, folding laundry with one hand while furiously masturbating with the other. And there will be other people who will go for, speed runs through the maps, ignoring any sort of setbacks or story or lore on the sides. And by the way, the single player campaign will last around 13 to 15 hours for a novice, depending on the absence of the nightmare setting, obviously. And there will be pickups and collectibles. So, thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video as it helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one. And remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.